Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft with Sidetrack. We are up to episode 23 in our Let's Play series, and we've been working on applied energistics. Now we haven't gotten very far, we just kind of got started. Between last episode and this episode, I actually went ahead and made a couple more inscribers, because I really wanted to get these automatically working, and it was kind of difficult with just one. And it was slow. It was very slow. So I just kind of ran some conduits up through here, got some extra inscribers, and I went ahead and wrote an inscriber program. Now, this ended up being much more complicated than I really wanted it to be. But what I was having, well, I'll go back and I'll explain this to you, and then I'll go back. So basically, what I've got is I've got a trigger every 6 seconds, because 6 seconds is about the length of time that it takes for each of these to process if you have not modified the inscriber at all. And every 6 seconds, it's going to check and clear the inscribers. So it's going to take a look at all the inscribers, and I actually set up variables for the inscribers. I'll talk about those in a second. It's going to check all the inscribers. It's going to target the north side, basically all of the anything that's in there that is processed will get sent out, because inscribers export on the side. So everything that's in there gets pulled out, and it gets sent to another variable, our chest variable. And it exports pretty much everything. It's a blacklist right in there. Then it calls another node, which kicks us back to the next line. We go through flow control. So what I have set on my flow control is actually, no, wait, where is it? Is it in here? There's something that I set differently. I think it's the in. I wanted to just show you this. Inventory. Okay, so I defined that I want this command, this inscriber command, to run once per target. So it's going to run on every single one of these variables. So it's not just going to run on one of them. Figure out how to point that out. Okay, so we clear out the inscribers. Then we go through flow control. And then essentially these are all going to be the exact same thing, just going to different inscribers. So this is just another group. In the group, we've got an input node. We input from this chest variable. We're going to target any side of the chest because it doesn't matter. And we're going to input Certus quartz, and we're going to import pure Certus quartz. And then we're going to send that out to this calculation inscriber, which is, I think, this one. Nope. This one? Yeah, bottom. And then all of them are pretty much exactly the same. So we go back here. The logic is exactly the same, but it's going to call gold instead of, and it sends it to the logic inscriber. Now, I set these up as variables for a reason. So basically, your variables, you create a container variable, get rid of that. And in here, I named them according to what they are going to be. So they're all set to different colors. They're all set to global variables, so they, impact everything. All subsets of this program. And each one is, going to a different inscriber. And it's pretty simple. And then I've got one for chest. So what this lets me do is that if I happen to want to move these, because I'm not really sure if this is going to be my final location for these, all I have to do is change the location in the variable, and I don't have to worry about finding it throughout all of this stuff. So that's kind of nice. I kind of wish I had done that with the rest of these, because if we go into some of this stuff, I have, let's see, I know under here there are some red exclamation marks, because I've gone in and changed some of my, maybe not in there, it's under craft track. I've changed some things. Well, trust me, there are some issues with some of these that are not running properly because I've upgraded some of my chests and never upgraded the program. Oh well. Inscribers. Did I take too long on that? Probably. Okay, so these work really well, and I've kind of been playing with them, so I can throw some gold in here, and I can throw some Certus quartz in here, and a diamond in there, and throw some silicon in here, and what you'll see is that every 6 seconds these will cycle through, and they'll start working, which is pretty cool. I love how it renders everything in here. It's kind of hard to see. The presses are in the top. This renders the silicon and the whatever material. So this is just going to kind of keep going through these. These will get printed. Silicon will get printed. Let's see, am I going to have? Yeah, I'll have plenty, which is pretty cool. And all I have to do is keep silicon and redstone in here. The silicon will automatically get turned into printed silicon, so I don't really want to leave it all in here. But I can keep as much redstone in here as I wanted. It's not going to be a problem. Pretty cool. The other thing I did, and this is very simple, is I set up a very simple charger program. Because basically, every 1 second, it's going to input from the chest, output to the inscriber. The inscriber, I'm inputting from the top. Not quite sure if you have to do it from the top. It might work from the sides as well, but I know from the top works, so I did that. And then there's no output because I wanted to do something a little different. So we can put regular old quartz in here if I have any, and it gets put in here, and it gets charged, and then it doesn't go anywhere because I want to do something kind of fun. What I want to do, and let's see if I can find where I did it. Ooh, yes. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Clear that out of here. I want to make an item translocator because this is from a mod, Translocator, which is a really cool mod, and we're not going to use it nearly to its potential right now, just because we're not. I have everything I need? Nope, need an ender pearl in there, and I can make it. Excellent. So what the item translocators, there are actually a couple different translocators. It's a very tiny mod. There's liquid translocators and item translocators. And what they do is allow you to transfer items from one inventory to another inventory in the space of one block. So it has to be in one block. You can't put one here and then one halfway across your base. It has to all be in one block. And then what you do is you right-click, and right now you can see the little rainbow effects. Anything from here will go into the charger. And obviously that's not going to do anything because there's already something in there. And then we can right-click this and right-click that one, and whoop, out it came. Oh, there it goes. And so this allows us just kind of a fun little, I could have written a program to do it, but this is kind of fun. Now, the item translocators, you can do all kinds of really neat things with filtering, and, like I said, we're not really using them to their abilities, but they're kind of fun. So I just wanted to play with them. Just for no reason other than I felt like it. All right, so what's next? Oh, yes. So you hear all those noises. I've been meaning to do this for quite some time. I wanted to make a sound muffler. Basically, sound muffler is pretty simple. Just wood, a note block, sound muffler. And what the sound muffler does is it makes everything within an 8-block radius quiet. So we're going to put this here. And it takes the volume down about 90%. So you can hear everything is much quieter. Much quieter. You can still hear it. Okay, now I don't hear it. Oh, there it was. So you can still hear things, but they're much quieter, which is great around animal farms. It's great around these noisy things like the pistons, although I do have a plan for the pistons later that's going to involve something a little different. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to make some more crystal growth accelerators, and I want to start to automate this process. Do I have everything I need in there? I do. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to grab 2 crystal growth accelerators, and I'm actually going to steal some things from our old setup that we're not really using anymore. Because I could make new ones, but why bother? And that's probably enough. At some point, we're probably going to actually go through and dismantle a lot of this system and reallocate what we're using this room for. Although I do still want to have a smeltery, because I do still kind of want to be able to make alloys and things like that. Okay, next thing we've got to do. We need to make a couple of upgrades for this transfer node. And just bear with me right now, and then I'll explain why we're going to bother. Yep, I can get him with upgrades. So we need to make a world interaction upgrade. We want this transfer node to interact with the world around it. So, and I wonder if this is going to work in here. I guess we'll find out. I need to make a pickaxe. Let's make ourselves, I guess that's all I really needed, wasn't it? You know, let's just shift click it in here. Okay, world interaction upgrade. We've got our item transfer node. We've got our item filter. And then we're going to need a chest of some sort to put this in. All right, 8 wood, make a simple chest. And we are going to, you know, modify this as time goes on. But for right now, this will work. Okay, I still have that bucket. I do, good. Down the hole. Out. Okay. So we're going to pick up this water because we need to. We're going to pop this off. And let's go ahead and drop a cobblestone right there so we can interact with all of this stuff. Come here, you. Is this going to... Okay, good. Get down here. Get down here. Okay. So that's where we want things to go. We want our item transfer node to affect that block. Now, we want to get out of this hole. Okay. Pick up that. Item transfer node. Great. We want this to interact with the world. So the world interaction upgrade allows your transfer nodes to do things in the world. Now, depending on, you know, what kind of node they are, they'll do different things, and you can read through here. But essentially, in this form, we want it to pick up items. So if we throw something down here, it will get sucked up into the transfer node. Pretty cool. However, we don't want it to pick up everything. We only want it to pick up some things. We don't care about the ores. We want it to pick up pure crystals. And I suppose at some point we're going to have to make a pure nether quartz just to, you know, put in here. And another thing we probably want to pick up are fluix crystals, because we're going to kind of make this water puddle an multi-purpose water puddle. Okay. Let's break that. Let's break that. Put our 2 new crystal growth accelerators down. Oh, of course. They don't like... There we go. Does pick up with a wrench? It does. Good. Okay. Now we just need to, you know, wire them in, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay. So, what do we have here? We've got crystal growth accelerators, an item transfer node that we need to connect in down below. So, how are we going to do that? Well, pretty simple. We need to come down below all this stuff, so we're going to have to run some cable. Since we're down here, we'll get it started. Run some cable there. The item transfer node, we need to take our transfer pipes. And just for now, I'm going to probably tidy this up a little bit later, but for now I'm just going to send this right over here. Alright. Yep, I missed. There we go. Okay, so item transfer node can come over there. We'll go ahead and put our chest right here. So anything that goes in here will get sucked up and eventually put into the chest. Now we need to go ahead and put our filter in here because we only want the crystals to go in there. Because remember, we're going to be putting seeds in here, and we don't want the seeds to get sucked up. We want the seeds to stay in one place. So this will only pick up the pure 100% grown crystals. Great. Now the next thing we want to do, we're going to have a way to drop items into this system. Now, since we played with Botania, I figure, well, why not use a Botania block? We're going to use an open crate from Botania. You can use a dropper from, you know, just regular Minecraft, but open crates sound kind of fun. And while we're over here, let's grab some glass so we can make this look a little bit tidier. drop down here. Come on out. We'll just put some glass around here. Make it look kind of fancy. Oops. Okay. Where do we want to put this dropper? I suppose we'll put it right on top. Right about there. Okay. So anything that goes into that open crate will drop straight down into the water. Cool. So if we were to... Well, now we have to figure out a way to get things into that open crate. At the moment, the easiest thing I can think of is just to use item conduits. Now, item conduits we've used before, so we're just gonna run these up. Where do I want to put this? I'm gonna run it out one more, and this is gonna look a little weird right from the get-go. But just trust me, it really is part of a bigger plan. Trust me on that one. We're gonna run this around here, cut over there, and in here. Now, this is the part that's looking a little weird. I'm going to put a chest on the top. Why am I going to do that? Good question. I'm glad you asked. I'll answer later. We're going to insert into that chest, and we're going to put a simple, basic item filter on it. And what I want to go in here are the Certus quartz seeds, nether quartz seeds, and fluix seeds. Nice and simple. On this down here, on this mode, it's going to be set to extract. We want it to always extract. And we want an advanced item filter on here that's going to have our seeds and then also nether quartz, charged nether quartz, and redstone. All right. So we want our seeds to have a priority of going up into this chest. Let's break this so we can open this chest. And then out the side, we want them to get extracted again, pretty much right away. Now, why might I do that? It's not because I'm going completely crazy. But what we want to do is we want to be able to send a redstone signal anytime we send seeds to this open crate. So we're going to cut through here and hop on down. So we want to send a redstone signal because if you'll remember down over here, this is only active when it's receiving a redstone signal. So we're going to cut through here and we're going to slap a comparator right next to this chest. Where is my comparator? I built one from earlier. So our comparator goes on here. I'm going to use a screwdriver to rotate the inside to next to the chest. And then we're going to have to add some things to this. Now, off camera, to save a little bit of time, I crafted some white insulated wire, some red insulated wire. Excuse me, red alloy wire. It's not insulated. Okay, so your white insulated wire will connect with our comparator. We're going to run that down because we want to send redstone signal along it. Now, where this gets a little tricky is that if you'll think, seeds that come in here are only going to stay in here for a fairly short period of time, in which case, make sure this is set to redstone, insert, and then they're going to leave quite quickly. So it'll be in, and then it gets extracted. We need the redstone signal to stay on for longer than that period of time. So what we need to do is we're going to use a state cell. And the state cell, I would like to put someplace that I can, well, you know what? Maybe we'll just add a light to it later. We'll put the state cell here. Send this up and around. And so the state cell will get a redstone signal. And then we want it to output that redstone signal and work its way somewhere over here. Oh, let's see. We need it to come down over here. Ultimately, we need our wire to end up at a red alloy wire right about here. And we'll connect it there. I think that this is in a good position. I think this will get the redstone signal, but we may have to add a little bit of extra wire to it. Okay, so the state cell is a pretty cool thing. It essentially works by holding on a redstone signal for a set period of time. Right now it's set for 2 seconds. We're going to set it for a much higher amount than that. I'm not exactly sure how long it takes our seeds to grow. I figure a good 10 minutes ought to be plenty. Okay, so let's see if this works. So if we throw some seeds in here, these should get sent up to that chest. And it should turn on a signal. Well, it looks like it doesn't like us very much. These are not being extracted. Extract. Oh, you know what? I bet you, because these actually were sitting... Yeah, okay. These were sitting in the water for a little while. Let me make some fresh seeds. Okay, take 2. Brand new seeds. Okay, they got extracted. They should have gone up there. Oh, and we've got our state cell that is on and running. So you can see the output there. Now this should be an out. Did I disable it somehow? Not quite sure. Let me... So that's on. Oh. These haven't gone out yet. These extracting? Extract. Always active. Insert. It's looping. It's looping around and around. Okay. Give me a minute to think about this. Alright, I think the easiest thing to do is just to run another set of cables. You can right click to disable them with your Yeta wrench. Let's come up here. Set this to insert. Oh, and it just popped off on me because I had my magnet on. No, I don't have a magnet on. I was just too close to it. Okay, take 2. Well, on the upside, you can see that the state cell is running. Let's do this again. Throw that in here. Should end up going into here. And, oh, you can see it down in the water down there. Great. So, are these on? They are not on. Still not on. Alright, there we go. So the state cell always confuses me. Basically, it outputs off the side instead of straight through. Essentially, what happens is once this finishes ticking, then you'll get a quick burst out the front. And I always forget that. I think it should be reversed because I'm an idiot. So, you can see that our growth accelerators are working like they should. Let's go ahead and throw these in here just so they have someplace to go. And they should end up getting dropped out as well. And end up down in our puddle with everything else. Great. So these will grow, and this will run, and I'm going to have to time how long these actually take. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and talk to you guys in a minute. Okay, wow. So my estimate of 10 minutes was way too long. It takes about 2 minutes with 4 crystal growth accelerators to grow crystals from seeds to fully grown. Now, one of the things I suppose I ought to mention, I did actually go ahead and connect all of these crystal growth accelerators, and it works really well. So all you need is the redstone signal to be applied to this Fluix block, and yeah, so far so good. So we can also, let's see, do I have any? Nope, don't have anything else. But we could throw in some redstone and some other things, and that should bypass this chest and not use this power. All said and done, when these are all working, it does kick our engines upstairs on a good bit of the time, but we are well within our power limits, especially if we don't keep that running all the time. Okay, it's time to start our network. So I've went around, I think I've grabbed most of the stuff we need. Let's do it in here, actually. So for our network, they've changed a little the way this stuff works. We are going to need an ME drive. That's fairly simple. Just going to need some engineering processors. We are going to, we're going to have to make some glass cables. So glass cables, we need some, can I do pure Fluix for this? I can, good. So I always try to do pure whenever possible. How many of these do I want to make? Let's make 16 of them. Give us some good stuff. We don't have to make them for a little while at least. All right, so All right, ME drive is there. We want to make, so you used to have to make the ME controller, and they still have the ME controller, and you can still make it, and it's useful. It has very good purposes, and we're going to have to make one eventually. But for now, we don't. We're going to actually make ourselves a crafting terminal, because I love them. And so for the crafting terminal, we're going to need to make some panes, and some panels, and some illuminated panels. And for this, I'm going to have to make myself some more quartz glass. Let's see if I can do this fairly simply. And then I need some regular glass, fill in here. I'm going to make a lot of this just because otherwise I'm going to run out. Throw that in here, stick that there. We've got some glowstone, we've got some redstone, we've got an iron. There's an illuminated panel. Great. I think 3 should be enough for what we want to do right now. So we're going to make an ME terminal. We need to make some formation cores. So formation cores, pretty simple. We are going to have to put our logic processors in there. We're going to have to put pure Certus quartz. And, oh, we don't have any fluix dust. Let's go crush up some fluix dust. Alright, we'll make 5 of them. Now the nice thing is that we can always turn this fluix dust into fluix crystals. The pure fluix crystals, and you can always turn your pure fluix crystals into a fluix block and then back into regular fluix crystals. So you don't have to worry about, too much of messing this stuff up. How many formation cores do we need? Let's make 6 for now. Make 6 for now. So the annihilation core needs what? Oh, annihilation core. Oh, it's just, okay. Very similar. We're just using these instead. Annihilation core. And more processors go in there. We'll make 2 of those. Okay, now I think we can do this. Annihilation core, formation core, and a panel. There we go. There's our ME terminal. Great. So we've got our drive, our ME terminal, and we made ourselves a storage last episode. That's really all we need to get started. So we are going to have to bring it power. How do we want to bring it power? We can either tap up from that, energy acceptor, energy provider, I guess is what it's called. And it's energy acceptor. Or we can make a new one. I say we just make a new one. It will make life a lot easier. I think I can make this. Yes, I can. Great. Okay. So where do we want to put this? Well, for now, we're going to put it in the middle of the floor. Because, actually, you know what? Let's move it slightly. Let's put it over... No. Right here's a good enough spot. It's going to get moved. We are going to make some additional storage, but what we need to do is grab some of these cables. We're going to put our energy acceptor in the corner for now, and then we are going to pump. Nah, I don't want to do that. Let's move this someplace else. Let me think about this for just a second. Okay, for the moment, we are going to run our energy conduits through these blocks. I'm going to stick that right there. Should start charging, I believe. It should connect. Then we just need to connect some pipes up to this. Oh, you know what? We need a couple more conduits because we need to connect in over here. All right. So if all is running, excellent. We've got a little green light. This is functioning. Now, we are going to need to add a couple of extra things here. So onto the top, we're going to put a little bit of fluix cable. And then, and this is a departure from Applied Energistics 1, we've got our ME terminal that is just going to hang out right here at the top. And this will give us access to our network. Now, these are multi-part. These are multi-parts. So you can tell that, the old one, you had an entire block for your ME terminal. Now you can just stick them on the Fluix crystal, or the Fluix cable, which is pretty cool. So you can throw things in here, but we're not going to quite get to that yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and make ourselves some more drives, because 1K storage is not going to be nearly enough to make all of the stuff that we need to make. So let's see. I need more storage space, and I'd really like to make some 4K storage, because the 1K is great, but the 4K will give us more room. Unfortunately, the 4K is going to require storage components, which require 3 ME clusters each. So I'm going to make some more logic processors and make some more 1K storage, and be back in a minute. Alright, so while all these presses are working, and they are working wonderfully, which is great, I want to do a couple of other things. I want to run downstairs, and I'm actually going to make an entire stack, well, I guess it'll be 2 stacks, of Certus quartz seeds. So, Certus quartz seeds. Now, the nice thing about this, whee! Let's take off my ring, so they actually fall where they're supposed to go. The nice thing about this is this will take, plenty of time, or rather, it'll take about 2 minutes for all 2 stacks to complete. It doesn't take any more time just because there are more items in here. At least that's my experience. If I find out I'm wrong, well, we'll find out now. Okay, the next thing I want to do is, how are those coming? They're still coming along. This ME terminal is awesome, but it's not as cool as it could be. I'd actually like to turn it into an ME crafting terminal. For that, we're just going to use calculation process, crafting table, pretty simple. I would strongly recommend just going ahead and making a crafting terminal right off the bat, because it does everything that your regular terminal can do, and it can craft items. So say we have cobblestone in here, we can take our cobblestone out, we can make a stairwell. It's awesome. I don't really want to do that. Okay, so are these done yet? Not quite. What else can we make? Trying to make a lot of things here. So to get started with some of this importing, we need to make an import bus. An import bus. What does that do? Well, it does exactly what it sounds like. It imports things into your network from other inventories. So to make an import bus, well, let's just go ahead and search for it. Import. Import bus right here. We're going to need an annihilation core, a sticky piston, and 2 iron ingots. I think I've got some pistons over here. I do, good. And I've got some slime balls right here. Craft those up. Sticky piston. Throw that in here, and do I have everything else I need? Good, I do. Okay, so what we can do with the import bus is you will put it on some ME cable, and I'm just going to stick this right here for now. And it's just like everything else, the multi-part. And any chest that you put in front of it will put all of its inventory into your network. So let me make those extra cells and be back in a minute. Alright, so we've got 2 4K storage cells, 2 1K storage cells, and an extra 4K storage cell that I'm going to leave over here until later. So what are we going to do? Well, we want to import these things into our inventory. Now, the first 2 storage cells are going to be our smallest ones. And so what your system is going to try and do, it's going to try and import into the first available storage cell. So what I want to do is go around and to all of my chests that have lots of smaller amounts of things. So like here, I've got all these different alloys and all these different things, and there's only 1 or 2 of each one of these things. I'm going to put these in my smaller storage cells, because the way these function is that each storage cell can only hold 63 different types of items. Let me say that one more time. Only 63 different types of items. So even though this is 4 times as large, it can only hold 63 different types of items. So if I put 1 of 63 different things into this 4K storage cell, I'm going to have a lot of empty space. So you want to try and put, certain things into the 1K, and then the things that you have lots of. So like, for example, all of this coal. This coal would be great to put into a 4K storage cell because there's a lot of it. Hopefully that makes some sense. So I'm going to take my dolly, right click, drop this here, and slowly we should notice that this starts to fill up. If we want to make this faster, we could add some speed upgrades. What do they call them? Cards, I think. Yeah. So we could add capacity, crafting. Basically, there are different things that you can put in here. So like the storage bus, the import-export bus can have a capacity card that affects the ability, the size of the filter that you can put in here. There's a acceleration card that you could put into your import bus. And you can have up to 4 of them, which will make it run a lot quicker, which I probably am going to want to do, especially for some of these things that are just going to take forever to put in there. So this is what I'm going to do between this episode and next episode, because it is way past time to wrap up. I'm going to organize all of this stuff into these cards, and because I don't think you want to see that on camera. Hopefully you had fun playing around with applied energistics. Next episode we're going to have to get even more into it. But until then, this is Sidetrack signing off. Have a great day, folks.